Welcome to Teacher Notes instructional video number 6. Today we're going to learn about a new feature for the iPad version of Teacher Notes, which is graphing your notes to get a visual representation of the notes you've taken on a given class. Let's get started. Today we're starting off in the class screen, so let's go into a class. And now let's look at our saved notes. Okay, and now you'll notice a new button in the bottom right, and it's a little hidden sometimes. It's a little button of a graph, and if you press it and have 7 days worth of notes, you will go into the graph screen. So here we are in the graph screen. You can see in the top left there's two buttons for, it says all kids or individual kids, and that's for if you want to look at and compare notes on different children in your class, or whether you want to look at on the content areas and domains of an individual child and see the notes you've taken in that style. We'll go through both of those. So we start off in the All Kids section. Here's your graph. You can see on the y-axis are the number of notes you take, and on the x-axis is the days you take notes on. So really, it's the number of notes you take on a given day. And when you start off, you see, first of all, this button down here in the bottom right says All. That means that we're looking at all the notes you've taken so far in Teacher Notes for this class. And beside it, it says 149 beside All. That means that on the graph currently, we're seeing 149 different notes. So we have two sliders here on the bottom, on the right and left. The one on the left actually brings you closer to the current day. As you can see as I slide it, the number goes down, and now says all-52, meaning that we have 52 notes on the current graph. And if you slide this one, it brings you closer towards the past. So, and the number is constantly updating beside the name. So say we want to look at the number of notes we've taken for a given child versus all the notes that are versus all the notes you've taken so far this year. You can tap this and you'll get a list of all the kids, and say we go on and look at kid 9. So you can see that some red lines have come up. The color of the lines on the graph are in sync with these buttons down here. So the blue represents all your notes, and the red represents the notes you've taken for kid 09. And as we zoom over here to get a little closer, you'll see that you can clearly see the red notes. Right, and as you can see, it says kid 09-9, which means you have 9 notes for kid 09 in this time period, out of all your notes, which there are 58 of. And if you want to see, instead of tapping on the kid's name, you can just tap on the arrows to go up or down your class roster. So that's pretty much how you compare children. And now let's take a look at how to look at the content areas and domains of an individual child. So you see in the top left we tapped individual kid, and down here we have a new button, it says all kids. So you start off by looking at the notes you filed for content areas and domains for the total class. So say we want to just look at, we're looking at here again all the notes, and perhaps we want to look at what we've looked at for physical notes over the course of the year, and perhaps over here just cognitive notes. So as you can see, the graph fills up, and if we get closer to the recent time, you can see the green and the red are representative of your cognitive and physical notes. And again, you can see the numbers down here. It says 16 or 5, meaning those are the amount of notes that are appearing on the graph at one time. And if we want to now cycle through individual kids, we can do the same thing over here. Tap on this and say go to kid 6, and we'll see this is the notes we've taken in this time range. We have no physical or cognitive notes here, but maybe if we, again, you don't have to tap on the kid name, you can just tap on the arrows to look at different children. So here you can see there's 2 cognitive notes, and as we go up, we come back. So here's some data for kid 09. You can see that there's 9 cognitive notes in this graph set, 4 physical notes in this graph set out of 16 total notes for Kid 09 that you took in this time period. So that's pretty much a summary of the graphing capabilities of teacher notes at this time. I think if you play around with it a little bit, you'll really enjoy it. Alright, thanks a lot.